Are you ready to take your business to the top? Well, strap in and hold on tight. You're listening to the Top of the Wall podcast from Red Wall Marketing. Business and marketing strategies to lift you above the competition and over the wall of mediocrity. Now, here's your host, J.R. Griggs.
Hey, welcome to episode 7 of the Top of the Wall podcast. Today, we're talking about, as I mentioned last week, continuing a little bit in the productivity topic. And so today, you may notice that the audio is not as good as I'm actually outside walking right now. I'm walking around my neighborhood. And so the audio may be a little bit less clear. You may hear cars drive by, birds chirping. I think there was a lawnmower I passed earlier. And the purpose of that is because we're talking about leveraging time and how to make the best use of our day. One thing I've been studying up on a lot, as a huge truck's passing me by right now, is sorry about that. One thing I've been really working on is getting a grasp of the fact that the old saying, time is money, is completely false. I've heard that repeated several times, just in the last month even, from just smart people I follow, where they'll say that it's a horrible saying, time is money, because they're really completely different. I mean, you spend $100, you can go make it back. You can always get money back. You can lose everything you got and build it back up again. I mean, plenty of people have done it. But you can't get the time back. It's the only thing you can't get back. You can never get your time back, period. It just ain't going to happen. The 20 minutes, 30 minutes I spend here isn't coming back. So I've got to use it wisely. Every day, you're not getting it back. You know, tonight you're going to go to sleep, and whatever you did today is gone. Whatever it was, it's gone. So it's just that much more important to use that time as wisely as possible and make sure that we're getting the best out of our day, especially for our business. And so leveraging time is extremely important to me. And that time it could be time spent on your business, it could be time with your family, time with friends, time for fitness, whatever it is. You've got 24 hours in a day. So how can we best use that time? And as you know, in the first 5 episodes, we talked about all these, different strategies to work on our business instead of in our business. And how when you're working in your business, you're so busy doing the little tasks, you don't often see what's going on outside, and you can't grow the business. And so this is another, tip to do that. So I figured, why not take a walk, record a podcast, just as an example of one of the ways that I am more productive with my time, and try to multitask in a smart way. Multitasking often does not work, but this is a case where I could knock out 2 things at once. I could take a 20-minute walk, and which is great for my body, great for my brain, and record this podcast. So basically, it's going to be a 20-minute or so conversation, because I don't have notes with me. I did write up some notes on what I wanted to say, but those are on the computer, and I don't have that with me. So it's just going to be a little 20-minute conversation about productivity and use of time. And I thought that'd be a great way to not only go over it, but set the example. So I'm just actually using my iPhone to do this. You can use your voice memo app, or if you got an Android or whatever, you're going to have some kind of voice memo app. I mean, back when I had my flip phone, I had the same technology. So just about any app will have it. But if you don't, you could use a tape recorder. They're digital recorders now, of course. But you could use any kind of recorder. To do this, I'm actually using the app called Dictamus, which is a great app I use on a constant basis for doing different things instead of the voice memo app. And the reason I use the app Dictamus is that it's a dictation app that has built-in share features. So I can record something and then email it right through the app, which is awesome. I use that for communicating with my staff. If I have a task that needs to be done or some thoughts about something, I can simply, while I'm driving or wherever, in line at a grocery store, it doesn't matter, simply record a note, and then right through the app I can email it to them or all of them, or I could have it, put right into, like Dropbox or something like that where everybody can get to it. And it sounds like I'm leaving a voicemail. Like right now I'm walking around the neighborhood, and, to anybody that sees me, it looks like I'm talking on the phone. They don't know what I'm doing. And if I'm standing in line at a grocery store and I get on the app and I say, hey, just wanted to remind you to, do this or that, or, hey, we need to check in on this, or great job on that. It sounds like I'm leaving a voicemail. So it's a great way to use my time wisely. And, if I'm standing in line at a grocery store, come on. I can get some things done, and that's the way I generally will run my day, is I try to squeeze in whatever I can. And again, not to the point of exhaustion where every minute of the day I'm thinking of something else. I mean, sometimes I just want quiet. Sometimes I just want to drive and I don't want to listen to anything. Or I want to walk and I don't want to talk to anybody. Listen to anything. I don't want to think about anything. I just want to walk. And that's cool too. But if you can use this, that's great. And like I said, you can't get your time back. So we got to use it wisely. We got to use it to the best of our ability. And this is just one of those methods. Walking is healthy. I'm big on my fitness. I jog, walk, go to the gym. During those times, I tend to, although I love listening to music, I will kind of rotate. Some days I'll listen to music. Some days I'll listen to a podcast or an audiobook, which is a great way for me to be learning, get some great content, while at the same time increasing my fitness and just getting exercise. And so that's another way that I'll use my time throughout the day, because every day I'm going to be spending at least a half hour to an hour doing some form of exercise. And if I can, listen to audio of a podcast or a book, that's just a great way to do that. And again, you might like music, and that may relax you, and that's important too. It's important to relax as well. But if you can, get some work done at the same time, that's a good way to do it. And again, I highly recommend the Dictamus app. I just think it's a great app for leaving notes for clients employees, and getting it sent out right away, and being able to, leverage your time. I've even, by the way, while driving, done sales letters. While I'm driving, I will record sales letter for either a client or my website or whatever. And what I'll do is I'll record several versions of it, and all I've got to do is pop my earpiece in, which is no different than if I was talking on the phone with my hands-free earpiece. At a red light, when it's safe to, of course, hit record. And then I'll record several versions of it. And what I do, so that I don't have to stop and start it and have to pay attention to the phone, I will snap my fingers or clap my hands each time I'm at a break. Meaning, okay, this is version 1, and so I'll clap my hand on version 2, and what that does is it puts a spike in the graph. So if you're familiar with looking at voice graph, when you're looking at an audio, you see the up and down lines with your voice. It puts a little spike there. So there's usually like a little break because I stopped. There's a clap, there's a big spike, and then there's a little break before I start again. That helps me see take 1, take 2, take 3. I can easily go through them and find each section. And then what I'll do is send that off to be transcribed later on, and then I can edit from there. So the cool thing there is that I can often speak what I'm saying better. I mean, there were parts of my book that I wrote through through dictation. I just spoke it because I could talk about the topic a lot easier than sometimes sitting down and writing. It depended on my mood. If I wasn't in the mood to sit down and write, but I was in the mood to talk, or at least do something with the book, I would speak it. And then I could later go back and edit it. I had a dictation app on the computer that I would use that would actually translate my voice and type it out for me. But you could also hire somebody who can transcribe your audios. So there's a lot of ways to utilize audio, dictation apps, voice memos, or whatever the case may be. You might hear me often mention Evernote, which is a great product that I use for taking notes. I could take audio notes or written notes with it, and I'll often be driving, and I'll just record an audio note into Evernote. So a little task I've got to do, or something I thought of for a product, or something I need to do for personal, whatever, I'll just record it. So those are, again, great ways, tools that you can use, and just a couple ideas of how to leverage your time. And all of those happen to involve audio, but again, just if you're looking to squeeze in more time, you're overwhelmed what you have to do, think about all the downtime you have throughout the day, and think about how you could leverage that time better. Because that, to me, is the smartest way to multitask. Again, not all multitasking is great. I gave up my old form of multitasking where I would try to do multiple things in a day because the science just says that it's not healthy. It doesn't work. When you're trying to work on 3 different things at the same time, you think you're doing 3 things at the same time. You're really not. You could say you're doing 3 things that are just going to take 3 times as long, so it doesn't get any faster, but it's actually worse than that. I mean, it's even longer, because when I really looked at the science behind multitasking, you have a little bit of a work shift that you do. So if you've ever heard of the term work shift, it's basically the transition between tasks. So when you shift from one task to the other, you have a little bit of a transition. And that transition takes time. You can't go from one thing to the other and just start off right away. It's the same thing like when you get to work or you get in front of your desk. It's hard to sometimes jump right into what you're doing. It takes a few minutes to sit down and get acclimated to the fact that you're about to write, or you're about to send emails, or you're about to make phone calls. It's almost like you got to go over things. There's that little bit of a shift. And when you're trying to multitask and do 3 things at once, you're shifting back and forth and you're losing time in between each. So that's the bad multitasking. That's horrible multitasking. That is just doesn't work. Listening to audio or recording audio while taking a walk or driving, that's not going to require a work shift. And if you're concerned about driving while recording because you don't want to even talk on the phone, some people don't even like to use hand-free devices when they're driving, so then don't do it while you're driving. Do it when you're taking a walk. But that's smart multitasking. So any multitasking where there's a work shift, you are bouncing back and forth between tasks, cut those out. They're not helping. They're not doing anything for you, and they're hurting you more than helping you. So you want to avoid that. But if you can do 2 things at once, like record an audio note, that's worth doing. I've found that to be very successful, and I have no problems doing that. And by the way, 20-minute walks, I use these anytime I'm stressed out, stuck on a problem, not sure what to do in my business, not sure what direction to take. I can't tell you how often a 20-minute walk has completely changed everything, completely cleared up my mind, and helped me focus on what I need to do. I've had problems before where I'm just like overwhelmed with a decision or a direction. I get up, I go for a 20-minute walk, I get back, and all of a sudden everything's clear. I can just see everything clearly. And that's scientifically proven that your brain just functions better while you're walking. It thinks clearer. You get the blood flowing, you increase oxygen to the brain. You just work better with a quick walk. So it is most definitely worth the investment for your health, for your mental health, and just for your business to incorporate some walks in your day. And if you're saying you don't have time to do that, again, remember, you can record an audio while you're taking that walk. You can listen to an audiobook or listen to a podcast while you're taking that walk. And you can kill 2 birds with 1 stone. And, you're just going to benefit, numerously from it. So those are just a couple ideas. Again, fitness, audio, how to combine the 2. Another really important thing when it comes to leveraging time and using your time wisely is something that I still struggle with, and a lot of people do, is making sure that the time you're spending on your business or in your business isn't time that you could pay somebody far less for. And what I mean by that is that, if you've got a company, you're running a company, and you're doing tasks that you could pay $10, $20 an hour for, and your time's worth $200 to $300 an hour or more, you really got to cut out those $10 an hour tasks because they're just a waste. And I'm guilty of that all the time. Sometimes I just want to jump in and do it myself. Sometimes I just feel like I can do it better, or it's just faster for me to do it, or I don't feel like paying for somebody to do this real quick because I can do it. But if I'm worth hundreds of dollars per hour, and that's what I charge my clients, and that's what I value my time at, remember, I can't get it back. I can't get my time back. Nobody can get their time back. and I've got somebody who can do these things at $10 to $20 an hour or less, why am I doing it? Why am I taking time out of my day that I could be doing the big picture stuff, the big thinking, the stuff that's going to grow the business and result in thousands an hour coming into the business? Why am doing $10 to $20 an hour tasks? And at first, you know what? You got to do those things. If you're a solopreneur, sometimes you got to do those things. If you're running a business and you're short staffed for the day and you got to jump in and pour some coffee or whatever it is your business does, sometimes you have to do that. You have no choice, and that's understandable, of course. But the idea is to avoid that as often as possible, and to realize that as long as you're replacing yourself and your time with somebody who can do it for less, and you can use that time to go do the big picture tasks, the thousands per hour tasks, you need to be doing it. You need to hire somebody, even if it's freelance. And that's another thing. Don't always think that you have to hire somebody full time to get stuff done. There's a lot of freelancers out there that are 100% okay with doing contract work. They don't need 40 hours a week because they're working for others, and so they're looking for flexibility of only doing a few things a week for you. So you can easily find people that will do that. I've worked with martial arts schools that, they hire bus drivers to come in for a couple hours a day, stay-at-home mom that likes to make a little bit extra during the week, and so they'll come in and they'll drive a bus for, a couple hours, go pick up the kids for their after-school program. That's a great example of somebody, you didn't have to have a full-time employee to drive the bus. You just needed a couple hours. Virtual assistants are available all over the place for sometimes if all you need is a couple hours a day, somebody to help check your email, somebody to help schedule your day or set appointments or make phone calls for you. There's lots of ways to get help without hiring full-time staff to do so. And something that I would encourage you to do, I've done this a couple times and I still do it. Every once in a while I catch myself doing too much. I write down all the tasks I do within a day. I write down the ones that I hate doing, the ones that I enjoy doing, and I write down the ones that are the most money producing and the ones that aren't. And then I write down all the tasks that, I'm saying write down, but I write them all down, then I separate them into what I like doing, what I hate doing, which ones produce the most money, which ones can be done at much less, or which ones can be done at a low hourly rate or contract rate. And I'll separate those and get a good look at my week and day and see if I need to switch the structure. So that's another good way to do that, is to take a look at what you're doing, see if there's anything you could hand off to somebody else that would be more efficient and a better use of your time. So, and that's, outsourcing and virtual assistants and all that's a whole other topic. But that's another way that you can use your time better throughout your day. We talked about last week getting things done and looking at your tasks. When a task comes in, you do anything that can be done in less than 2 minutes, and anything else gets put into little bins. Well, some of those tasks, no doubt, in your day should be outsourced to somebody else. They should be given to somebody else to do who can do it either faster or for less of a price than you're charging. In fact, do this. Think about it this way. So let's use a nice even number. Let's say you value your hour at $500, okay? So for your business, because you're the CEO or the CMO or you're the manager or you're the owner and your time is extremely valuable. Let's just say it's worth $500 an hour. And something super simple needs to be done. It's not rocket science. It's a little bit of work, or it's doing some research or gathering some information. Ask yourself, if that task took 2 hours, if you'd pay $1,000 for it. Would you pay $1,000 to hire somebody to do it? Chances are, no. You wouldn't. I've had research tasks that I've gone out and done myself that took me a couple hours to do, when in fact there's no way I'd pay $1,000 for that little bit of research that got done, and I could have gotten it done for $20. So why did I spend $1,000 worth of my time doing that? It's really stupid. It's just it's a waste of my day. I can't get those 2 hours back, And I could have hired somebody. Not only could I have hired somebody for less money, but I could have hired somebody who knows how to do it, and probably could have got it done in half the time. I know how to do web design, and so I'm often doing web design myself. I tend to, when it comes to my website, I want to tinker with it. I want to get in there and do things myself, which is sometimes fun. That's sometimes a stress relief for me. So, there's times there where you might not be wasting your time. You're okay with it at that moment. But there's other times where I need something done, and I spend 4 or 5 hours on it. Half my day's gone, and I realize I could have paid somebody, $30-$40. They would have had it done, and could have focused on something else. So I do that all the time. So, I'm not saying these things because I've mastered my day and I've mastered my time. Far from it. I still struggle with it. I'm better than I was, and I'm getting better every day. But, I still struggle with these things. I look to others to help me fix this problem. Coming up on a weed whacker, it looks like. So hopefully we can get past this pretty fast. But anyway, actually we're probably going to wrap this up. Again, I wanted this to be a 20-minute conversation. Hopefully I didn't ramble too much because I'm walking. I'm looking at trees and houses and cars driving by, and I'm hoping nobody thinks I'm an idiot walking around here talking to myself. And so hopefully I didn't ramble too much, and hopefully I was able to use this as an example of leveraging time and just being smart with your day. And although I can't get into too many specifics, because again, I don't have all my notes in front of me, and I'd love to have some bullet points to go over, different software to go over with you. And we'll do that in future episodes. We're going to go over different tools that I use and how I use them. And I'll get other experts on here, of course, to teach you ways that they leverage their day, and ways that they use tools and apps to get more out of their day. But today I just wanted to be a quick 20-minute conversation. Just me and you, walking around the neighborhood, talking about using our time wisely. And hopefully, while you're listening to this, you're using your time wisely. Just educating yourself, by the way, is using your time wisely to begin with. But hopefully you can take something away from this and, use it to make some changes in your day, whether it's getting some apps or programs for your productivity, note-taking apps, audio apps, or, using your fitness, driving and walking to listen to educational stuff, record things for employees, or, whatever you could do in your time that would help you in your business, or even personal. It doesn't have to be just business, just personal, Hopefully this helped you do that, and you got some great information out of it. We enjoyed a nice day. It's kind of nice. I mean, it's humid and hot here in Florida, so sweating a little bit, and even just a 20-minute walk, you can be out of breath down here. It's like walking through a invisible waterfall sometimes. But again, hope you enjoyed that. Email in, by the way, any tips you have that you use. If you could head over to redwallmarketing.com and just go to the contact page, you could email in any tips that you use, or any questions, by the way. If you've got Maybe you've got something you're struggling with getting done, something productivity-wise, or really anything in your business. But specifically to this episode, if you've got something you're struggling with productivity-wise, email it in, because I'd love to hear from you guys so that I know what content you'd like to hear. What can I share next week and the week after that would really help you in your business. So anything at all. Email it in, let me know, and we'll cover it. I'll do what I can to cover it for you. But after this episode, if you've got a specific productivity tip, send it in, or a specific question about how to be more productive in certain areas, or use your time wisely, or find, if you need help finding virtual assistants or contract labor, I will help you do that. I'll send you some of the sites and services I've used in my experience with that. And I'll probably make that a separate podcast someday down the road with some tips on how to find virtual help. And obviously, virtual isn't necessarily computer tasks. It's people from around the world that I've used to do work for me. And it costs less money because you don't have to stick them in an office and give them insurance and put them on payroll. They're contractors. They're 1099. And in some cases, in many cases for me, I go outside the U.S. if I need to, because labor is a lot less expensive, and they're tasks that are just so simple to do It's just kind of repetitive work that I can use overseas labor for. And so send me questions, send me your tips. Look forward to seeing you on the next episode. I've got some interviews coming up for you really soon, which are going to be awesome. I'm excited about some of the people we're going to be hearing from. And I hope that you can use this to make your day more productive and grow your business.
Thanks for listening to the Top of the Wall podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, please leave us a review and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any of the great episodes coming up for you. For more resources and tools to take your business to the top, visit redwallmarketing.com.